of wine. Grab your favorite glass, pour a couple of fingers of scotch in it. Get that stick, light it, and blow. It's time to hang with Steel Sharpened Steel After Dark. Hey everybody, and welcome to Steel Sharpened Steel After Dark. This is the homecoming edition. That's why we outside, but we inside on the outside. And it's Thursday, so it's great because you all can still go get your swerve on in the grown-up parties on Friday and of course Saturday, because we're here on Thursday. And so first thing we want to do is welcome you to Steel Sharpened Steel. I'm Tom Cunningham.
I'm Jermaine Taylor.
I am Joyce Stevens.
Also, Fish Fryer Supreme Joyce Stevens.
Right.
For special.
I am Cafeteria Lady Extraordinaire for the class of 95. I will be doing a fish fry for the class of 95 on Saturday. And if you're in the Atlanta area, you can come by and wave and say hi as we eat this fish in front of you because you ain't put in on this. Okay?
I feel so cheated. We don't have homecomings like this at PWI.
Just come to one of ours.
Yeah.
Would I be welcomed?
Oh, of course.
Would anybody even care?
No.
Okay.
You look like you went to a HBCU.
You look like you belong here. Plus, you have Sharpies on campuses across the country.
Right.
It's your birthday! So you're good.
Such a good feeling. Like when a couple times I've been out and somebody's been like, "You do that show like the one with Tom," and I was like, yeah.
"Whoa,
you know who I am?
You got cachet."
No, we get recognized. We get recognized. I was at FAMU homecoming 2 years ago, and we were at a brunch by a very talented chef, Shakafrika, in Tallahassee. The brunch was brunching, as they say, black math brunch, basically. Since black math is the new shit, so. It was delicious. And we were there and a Sharpie came. It was me and Sharon and Chuck and another colleague. And we were all in there. We were getting our lives and everything. And she took pictures with us and everything. It was so fucking
really
awesome. Yeah, no, it's great. And we love the Sharpies. We love doing this show for you. We are always trying to upgrade. I want y'all to see. You see, we got an animated background now, right? We're pushing information toward you.
CNN, we're coming for that neck.
Right.
Let us get a running band across the bottom. You in trouble.
Breaking. So we do have a great show. We are welcoming everybody who's coming into the chat. Thank you. Of course, Anthony Turner, who is getting his lift on. Mark Stepney. What up, Mark? And Gail Simpkins. Hello, hello, hello. We are going to get started because we know a lot of y'all are in your homecoming space. And so we have a couple of things, as has become our tradition lately. We are going to start with some Trump trouble. Obviously, the erstwhile 45.
How dare you?
44 is Obama. So he's 45. Right. Our erstwhile president, the worst president in the history of the republic, without question, is you want a running banner? Is that what you're saying? You want the banner to be a running?
But that requires another person to keep like content on that banner. So who's going to do that?
Me.
Oh Lord. That. Oh.
Come on now. Watch out now. So but I actually like the other one better though. I like it. I like the bigger.
But while he's fixing those, I will tell you, we said it last week. It was the beginning of all the dominoes starting to fall. And now every 24 hours, every 20 hours and 30 minutes, we're hearing another one bites the dust. Hey. Because once you realize that if you don't go first, you're going to get the longest sentence.
Yeah.
Right.
Definitely hot potato. And so everybody's jumping like, and now they come like, I got recording. I know stuff. I took pictures. And so people are turning like we knew they would.
Do we have one today that I missed, or was it just the lawyer, the latest one? The lawyer?
Mm-hmm.
The white chick?
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right.
Harley Quinn. So the first thing of Trump's trouble is fined $10,000 for a second gag order violation. Now, this is on top of the $5,000 initial gag order fine. Now, this is literally Trump change. This is not something that's going to impact his finances. However, the first one was 5. Then it comes at Trumple down. I told Hillary, instead of trumped up, trickle down, it should have just been Trumple down, because you got Trump and down next to one another. You can't say Trump up and then trickle down. It should have been Trumple down. But anyway, regardless, sorry, Hillary, you didn't listen. So this is a series of escalations. Trump had these attacks on the judge's main clerk. And so he said, you can't do that. And so he took the Truth Social thing off, but for 17 days on his campaign website, he had a screenshot of the post, which had the same effect. And the judge did not know, but it was brought to his attention. 17 days. He's like, I told you. And the lawyers tried to say, oh, no, it's not his fault. The buck stops with you, $5,000. So in the aftermath of Michael Cohen's testimony, and I don't know that Michael did as well as I think he thought he might, but different situation. It was still bad. He made a comment. He ducked outside the courtroom and said, it's a very partisan judge and a very partisan person sitting alongside him, perhaps even more partisan. And the judge was like,
what the fuck up do you not understand?
Got him on the stand. This picture, this artist rendering, is of Trump on the stand. So the judge, and there's the little clerk on the other side giving him the side eye too.
Wait, why does this look like a clip from the Boondocks though?
Right? I wonder if that's creative license or she was really looking that way.
Oh, she side-eyed the shit out of him.
Oh no, she was side-eyeing the shit out. So he was like, so who are you talking about? Michael Cohen. Are you sure you were talking about Michael Cohen instead of the other person who was sitting alongside me? Because why would Michael Cohen be considered partisan? Michael Cohen is a witness for the prosecution. Of course, he's going to be anti-Trump. So who were you talking about? And the judge was like, I don't find your testimony credible, $10,000.
Yeah. I think the judge's ego was sort of like bruised with this latest one, because Trump was kind of inferring, in my opinion, that she was calling the shots. And
he was.
Yeah. And remember our last time we were talking about band directors having egos? Remember that?
Yes.
I feel like you can't get no bigger than ego than a judge. And I felt he was like, wait a minute, this is my courtroom. I decide this. I have jurisdiction in here.
I'm God up in
the teeth. Yeah. So I feel like he sort of had his ego a little bit when he came at this latest defiance, and he was like, wait a minute, I'll let you have it.
You ain't gonna get it.
You think he'll possibly get jail time if he continues? Is that something on the books? Because this whole case has nothing to do with him going to jail. It's just paying money. And he's making it to where he can actually end up in jail by the way he's acting. So what sort of measures do you think this judge would actually take to make this man?
It's possible that if he keeps cutting up and the fine, since like we said, it's Trump change, it's possible that the judge will say, since money doesn't matter, spend the night in the pokey. And so jail and prison is different. I don't think he's going to see any prison, but he might spend a night in jail, and it'll be interesting to see. But the only issue with that, it might feel good in the moment to say, take your ass on in there to jail and spend the night, but he's going to talk about it. And he's going to say, look what they did to me. He's going to bite his own shoulder.
It's all performative right now.
Rats. It's so it might be worse to actually punish him just because of the fallout from his rabid fan base that we've injured. I promise you, if they did that, I promise you the word crucified would come out of his mouth.
Oh,
it's very telling that all this is doing is more like an act, a stage act, because the more and more he can stage this and really, really produce this whole event that he's in, the more outcry he's going to get from his fans, the more money they're going to give him. So I totally believe there's nothing about this is sincere as a result of him being the situation that he's in.
Even his hair is
sincere. Yeah, you said sincere in a sentence referencing Trump. So
he's clearly mentally incapacitated. That dude There's
that
randomly
video. Do you have that video for today?
I can get it.
Let's get that, because let's remember the thing that the right is trying to push against Biden is two things. One, the economy is jacked up, which, better job performance. We are definitely rebounding, stellar job numbers, absolutely stunning job numbers. And then the other thing is that Joe is supposedly mentally incapacitated. Meanwhile, Trump has referenced Biden era policies as Obama's fault.
A million times.
A bajillion times, claiming that Jeb Bush got us attacked on 9/11. Talking about rulers or presidents of countries, entirely wrong ass countries. I mean, it's just, and the super cut where Hannity was like, clearly he's in decline, and then they show all of these isolated clips. It's bad. It's really bad. And that's not even the extent of his troubles. Yes, a 10 and then a 5 and then a $10,000 fine. That's bad enough. The bigger news is that Mark Meadows took an immunity deal with Jack Smith on the January 6th case.
Yeah.
Come back to us?
Yes.
Oh.
And this is the scary part for Trump, because Mark Meadows has so far completely aligned himself with Trump, writing a whole ass book of lies, selling a book of lies, statements that directly contradict his statements to Jack Smith under oath as he was seeking immunity. Go ahead, Joy.
I was just going to say, one of the things that I find particularly aggravating to my soul is that so many of these people that are now testifying against him don't try to gaslight me into believing that you now believe it's the right thing to do. You're saving your own ass. And Cohen is a great example of it, because you wrote all these things as if they were true. You made money off American citizens who wanted to believe you, and they put a lot. And it's a love kind of trust. They love you for that, for being on Trump's bandwagon. And then you come out, you betray their God. We find out that everything you said was a lie.
You said their God.
Their God. I said it. And now they've been robbed too. And I see so much of this. It's the culmination of what that particular mindset has been pushing since everybody got here in the 1600s, 1500s. I'm going for self. F everybody who ain't me. It's all about me and mine. And good luck to the rest of you sorry motherfuckers, because I win. And when you have a society that does that, they eat each other, because everybody who ain't me. Let's not forget that a lot of the pilgrims that first got here were cannibals because they couldn't figure out how to grow shit, and they ended up eating each other. Yeah, that is true.
And not in the nice way.
Not in the fun way, no.
But to me, it's all empty, because they're taking these plea deals, they're getting these immunity deals, but then they'll turn around and say they'll vote for him again.
What the hell?
So I guess it's noble, huh?
Has anybody actually said that? Has that been a question that's been posed?
Would. You remember, for the record, they all said they would. Anytime they do an interview, they sit down with any sort of talking head, they always end up with that question: would you still support him in this next election, 2024? And they'll almost always say yes.
But they haven't been able. None of the people who have pled have had the opportunity to go back to the media.
What he's saying is, before all of this happened,
before, sure,
people I was just in that general base that have turned, like, look at your boy, like Chris Christie. They'd be like, oh, he's an idiot. We can't. Would you vote for him? I mean,
exactly.
Yeah, if he was the party.
So what makes Mark Meadows any different? What makes these people that are pleading guilty down in Georgia any different? I swear to you, they will still vote for this man again. They're not going to just jump ship and vote for us.
Yeah, well, I have no expectation that any of them are going to turncoat literally and be on the Democratic, even the liberal side, or even the middle. Yeah. But they're saving their own asses, and they're stepping on him to do it, which makes it harder for him to be a viable candidate. He might still, unless he literally is in prison or flees the country for debt, he's going to try and run. And I don't expect any of them to flip. Who I expect to flip are the moderates, the people with rational thought, the folks that maybe voted for him one time, people that, because let's not forget, a lot of middle of the road people that voted for Obama flipped and voted for Trump. I think all of them have come back like, oh my God, what did we do? How much did we drink? Like, you know,
so what was the reason they flipped from Obama though? Like, what happened?
Well, because the Democrats weren't putting forward anything compelling. Because remember, Joe wasn't on the roster, and that's when the Democrats had that run of the Hunger Games level number of candidates. Everybody
so it wasn't squarely because of Hillary. They didn't flip squarely. See, that's what I always thought that.
Well, it began because there was no clear successor to the throne, right? And then you had so many factions, and people who currently lean Democratic tend to be obstinate. They're not going to just vote for you because you rocking the Democratic blue, Crips and Bloods up in this piece. They're not going to have that solidarity. So the party was fractured. And then you got the Jill Steins coming through with her bullshit. You got the people who wanted to vote for Bernie angry. Not only that Bernie didn't get the nomination, but that he probably deserved it. And the party that they had trusted to be progressive and true was fucking lying just like everybody else, rigging the system just like everybody else, which added fuel to the fire when Trump had already told you the system was rigged. And now you see the people that you trusted rigging it. That is ripe to flip.
And also, let's be clear. Obama got as much support as he got the first time because Bush melted the entire world economy.
Yeah, it had gotten bad enough that they said let the
black guy, at least he can speak.
Right.
And then
and we can blame it all on him if it goes south.
We can blame it all on him. And then he lost support. Let's remember, he lost support between 2008 and 2012.
Yep.
He was elected by a smaller margin.
It came down
to 2012.
Yep.
Right. And so already there were people who were, we gave him a shot. Things didn't immediately turn into hopey, changey, whatever. And you still had Palin, who was talking shit for the entirety of that first term. And so there were people. Let's be clear, Mark. I'm not getting rid of let's be clear. So you're going to be in a coma. I hope your fiance is there to pick you up off the floor. Play with me. Play with me. It's my homecoming weekend and I'm not there. So trust, you're going to be under the table if you keep messing around. So those people, they saw in Trump, first, they saw what they considered to be a strong guy. They believed his success story. Mm-hmm. They bought into his apprentice thing. Yep. And compared to Hillary tried to be intellectual with the schoolyard bully. And bullies, until you knock them out, are always going to progress much greater strength. Mm-hmm. And so internal institutional misogyny, plus the fact that she was Hillary.
Yeah.
Plus the fact that Trump is a strong presenting liar who had zingers. And that's what they bought. Hillary couldn't zing shit.
Hillary could have had it. I've said this multiple times on the show. If she had been more authentic, you have to understand what authenticity means to the tail end millennials down through Gen Alpha at this point. Be real with me or I will not trust you, because they've grown up in a world that has lied to them from out of the womb. They've seen the lies, the cheating, the underhanded practices, the bailouts with the banks. It's not, and the math ain't math, and they can't afford nothing. The American dream is not available to them that way. They don't trust you. So at least come with the real. Bernie was like, look, I'm an old Jewish guy. This is what I do. Free college is what I said. And we believed it. And he's still rocking that today.
Yes.
Hillary's, I ain't seen my grandchild since it was born ass coming to my, I love to read to my grandchild every Sunday and walk in the park.
And I put hot sauce in the formula.
Right. The moment what was it? Formation comes out. What do you always have in your bag? Hot sauce. Black people, I have hot sauce.
They all do that. They all do.
No, it was extra bad with her because she couldn't even convincingly say that shit. Right. If Michelle had said it, Tabasco would have had a brand deal with her. But with Hillary, it's like I've got hot sauce in my bag. Swag?
Yeah. I've got hot sauce in my swag. That's how it goes, right?
And then he dared, and this is Trump, he dared to like tap into a new voter base that no one had ever paid attention to.
He did.
Ignorant folks.
Yeah. So,
ignorant folks with IDs.
But let's be clear, because while we were talking about what the flips and how the flips might impact his electoral prospects, there are even more pressing issues for Donald Trump because there are a series of states who are trying to disqualify him from even appearing on the ballot. And in Colorado, it's being allowed to proceed. He tried to get it thrown out, and the state court said, nah, we're going to let this one go. And the existential question for him is, does Congress have to act, or can the state just decide that they don't want him on? Does it have to be officially mandated that he is excluded for a state to do it, or can a state decide on its own that they can do it? And Colorado isn't the only one, but Colorado, because Colorado is a true purple state, one of the few actually true purple states, they have the momentum behind it right now. Now, Trump can't afford to lose any electoral votes. So if he is not on the ballot,
he gets none
in Colorado, there's no way he's going to get.
What supports that? Their constitution or a federal constitution? Like, how are they able to get away with that?
Supremacy says the federal would take precedence. That's what the supremacy clause says. However, there's some tension between what a state is obligated to do on its own certification of who may appear on its ballots.
Okay.
Because
that's where we've always struggled with states' rights.
Right. It's not as cut and dried because each state controls its own thing. You have to qualify. There are some people in the Libertarian Party or the Green Party that don't make it onto the ballot. There's nothing that says just because you're a GOP or just because you're a Dem, you are going to be on the ballot. You still got to meet certain things. You got to do certain stuff. Most of the time, it's just applying and meeting some certain thresholds. But if the voters of a state say, nah, you tried to subvert the Constitution, so we're not feeling it for you, bring somebody else, put somebody else on the ballot. GOP.
Not to mention that if they take him off the ballot, and one state will absolutely swing the general election, but 4 or 5 states will swing the primary. With all of the momentum he's got behind Trump being the forerunner, you take away a couple of solid states with 10 plus, electoral votes, what have you, and that's it, bruh. You ain't even getting to have an at bat on this one.
And there's no guarantee. Let's remember, he didn't win Iowa the first time. He's now he's an incumbent. Well, not an incumbent, a recompetent, whatever, incompetent. He might not show sufficient strength coming out. Now, I don't know who in the field would be the person, but it's possible. It is possible. And here's the thing: if Trump being off the ticket means Boebert loses by 500 votes, I'm perfectly fine with that.
I'm 100% for it.
Chan makes a good point.
Anyway.
Right. But everything matters. Trump's lack of presence on the ticket is what gave us 2 blue senators in Georgia.
Yeah.
So anything that can shape any of these races, and I didn't pull this story up, but it's something that we do need to talk about once we get beyond Trump. Those are the 3 big Trump stories. And we've got a lot of show. We took almost half of our hour just on Trump, which is time well spent. But I mean, we do have some other
moving
things.
on. Yeah.
But along those lines, you guys did hear that the New York House Republicans are trying to get rid of Santos, right?
See, and that's what I was.
Oh, really? See, you do like me, don't you?
I do.
Because you all in my head. You all in my head.
So,
no rent, but you all up in here.
Let's move on to our next story. New speaker, old ideas. We have a speaker who is the least experienced, the least vetted speaker in 140 years. This is only his 4th term, so he's in the middle. It's 6.5, 7 years. A former House Republican Conference vice chairman. He voted to overturn the 2020 election, and he made his bones in the Alliance Defense Fund, which is classified as a hate group by the SPLC.
Very extremist.
Super extremist. Joy, why don't you pick this up? Because a lot of the things that are most offensive about him are things that are offensive to one half of the population of this country.
I hate him with my whole body. I hate him with my ovaries, with my uterus, with my, what else is separate? Nipples, all of it. I hate him with all of that. You know why? Because we people make jokes, people make comparisons, but this dude is dead serious. He is dead serious about putting every person with a womb back in the kitchen and potentially murdering anyone who doesn't fit a gender binary and outlawing same-sex marriage, outlawing any form of abortion for any reason. He is on record saying that we would have better financial situation for funding Social Security and other programs if we had women who were just dedicated to birthing more workers for the American workforce, then we wouldn't have these problems. He basically said, I want you pregnant all the time. Barefoot, pregnant in the kitchen. This is the Handmaid's Tale. We've made those jokes before, but he is as close as we have gotten in real world time. You can't get no more conservative than a Republican from Louisiana. They still mad that they had to let people go from prison because the prison labor income was so good. Listen to what I'm saying. One of the sheriffs of whatever county was on the record, on tape, on video, saying we don't want, in Louisiana, I can't remember the town, which is why I won't say the name by accident, but one of the sheriffs was like, well, this furlough program isn't going to do us any good because we're going to lose money on that because, we're going to end up having to let all the good ones go.
Yeah. You remember in 19, go ahead, Tom.
Go ahead, you pick it up because I'll hold on to my point.
You remember in 1998, were you still in Houston in 98, Joy? When that interracial gay couple were arrested for having sex in their apartment. Remember that?
I remember that.
A neighbor tipped them off and then the police just all of a sudden showed up.
Tell me that don't sound like Gestapo tactics.
Yeah, they just arrested
1984.
1998. They arrested him, took him to jail on deviant. I forgot the name of the charge, but they were like in jail for the longest time. Anyway, the case ended up going to the Supreme Court. It was Lawrence versus Texas. I remember this like yesterday because that's when I first was coming into my own as who I was. I was getting ready to graduate college, and it terrified me because I was thinking, wait a minute, they can come up in my newly rented apartment that I just gotten after graduated and take me to jail. So I was very vigilant about this. He was so upset that the Supreme Court reversed that decision. And in other states reversed those sanctions because what they were trying to do was criminalize consensual sex activity between, two males.
Right.
He was so upset about it and working with that same organization that you mentioned that he wrote this scathing ass review in some sort of publication saying that the Supreme Court got it wrong. So this man right here is very problematic.
And he's third in line.
Second in line, really.
Yeah.
Because if Biden goes, it's Kamala, and if Kamala is, and then it's him.
Yeah.
This is who is second in line for the presidency. Now, the question will be, because he didn't get vetted before, so people don't really know. The Republicans who elected him, and let's be clear, they chose to
drink
uniformly. He got almost all the votes. He got more than enough votes because he only needed 217. He got 220, and they did it like this. Yeah. There wasn't any sort of back and forth. They went through all these intra-party votes behind closed doors, eating pizza and Diet Coke, whatever, to get to him. And they decided this is going to be our guy. And when they finally had the votes, you would have thought that he was president. They were all just so happy, but this is before anybody in the media has really had a chance. They nominated him and elected him within 48 hours. So nobody really had a chance to pull out any of his stuff. He's dirty.
Yeah.
Dirty. This is the most extremist person. And Matt Gaetz is sitting there crowing, talking about this, that, and the third. You all made the rules. Any one person can call the question. Just like Gaetz did. And when he's muddied up, I mean, we've got basically 2.5 weeks before we've got to get this budget together. And that's why they really did it. They were dickering so much.
They were up against the clock. Yeah.
They were up against the clock and trying to fund Israel. And, you know, a lot of these religious fundamentalists, blah, 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 they wanted to make sure that that vote happened, even though they're going to have to eat some Ukrainian crow to get it done. This is where we are. They screwed up, and now they've got this guy, and it's not going to fly.
Yeah, the abortion issue alone is going to take him.
It's tough. It's really tough for him. I care. I don't. That's your bed. Lay in it. But
my thing is, what has he been doing in Congress this whole time that nobody even knew him?
Well, a lot of them are like that. A lot of them, they have these very extremist views.
You gotta watch the quiet.
Yeah, and they lay under the radar. I felt like they just pretty much scoured everyone and been like, who can we all just get a consensus on?
And they picked somebody they hadn't heard of because they figured he couldn't have been that dirty because they don't know about it. And then lo and behold, shine a light on this.
Yeah, because I was getting emails, I was getting text messages like, what is going on? Oh, there's the Speaker of the House. And then shortly thereafter, all the dirt. I was like, oh my God, what do we do?
It's not going to be pretty. And he's sitting there thinking, you know, you're in the catbird seat. Bruh, you were not elected to this position by people.
You were not.
This is your goofy little friends. And trust, if you make it through election, there's a strong possibility that the Democrats are taking the House back.
Yeah.
And so you're going to be gone.
Yeah.
So regardless, you're going to be gone.
So the danger is him living long, is Biden living that long?
Exactly.
Because let's be clear, if Biden dies, Kamala gonna die.
I'm not going to put that energy into the universe, but be pragmatic, folks.
Right.
Ain't car armor strong enough.
I would have said that would never have been possible, even as recently as 2017. Now,
listen, Reagan took a bullet,
and they loved him. JFK, America's sexy president before Obama, took a bullet.
But I'm saying Reagan.
Yeah. Abraham Lincoln.
During Ronald Reagan's administration when he was a demigod. So it can happen to anybody. I don't want to dwell on it. I'm just saying he's super problematic. Do your research.
Yeah, pray for Biden. Stay prayed up that he makes it to the next election.
And if you are a person in Louisiana, his district is probably, very safely drawn, but be aware, Louisiana is one of the most hotly contested states in terms of redistricting, which is why we are going into redistricting now. Georgia redistricting, we finally got some good news. And Joy, I'm going to let you take the lead on this because it is your current state. But let's take a look at what is going on with the redrawing. The judge says Georgia's congressional and legislative districts are discriminatory and must be withdrawn. Take it away, Joy.
So it's everything you just said. And this has been this way for a long time. And this is another residual benefit of all the work that Tracy Abrams has been doing for 20 years. You got to understand, people thought it was progress because she ran and almost won. The progress has been slow and incremental since she was 18 years old. And everybody that went along with her, she's a figurehead for a much larger organization. And she herself does not take all the credit. We laud that on her. But Tracy, Stacey, look, y'all don't know what's in here. But Stacey and friends have been working to increase voter representation, get more and more people to understand when they're being disenfranchised, helping people get their right to vote reinstated, making sure that people in rural areas have access to voting. Like they have been slowly but surely changing the state, which is how you even get close to, how you even get the blue part of the state close enough to the red to have that overrun that we had in 2020, because that was absolutely unheard of. Nobody thought that was possible. But the other side of that is more and more complaints. I always tell my people, because Black folks, y'all are really, really good with charging to the game. You know what, karma, what goes around comes around, everything else, and you don't complain and you don't protest. We get protests in the streets when somebody gets shot, but when they've closed a voting precinct, You gripe about it to your friends and you don't do anything. And so one of the other benefits of all of this action over a short amount of time is people are paying attention. And they're also remembering that we did go blue last time. So even Republicans are paying attention. I'm very proud. Okay, saying this, or Governor Kemp, that's the first time I've ever called him that, was like, yeah, okay, let's do this redistricting. Because he understands better than some of his brethren in the Republican Party, I got to live here.
Yeah.
You know? And so he does a lot of stunts. I think he's stunted his way into the governorship. However, he ain't crazy.
But they're talking about 2 new Black districts being drawn. And the judge said in his order, this must be done. I will do it for you. And it has to be done by 2024 or I'm not authorizing elections.
Yeah. So they're like, I bet, let's do
the
it.
Margins at all? Because Georgia's still heavily Republican, right? Or does it
That's
shrink
because of the way some of those districts are drawn. So you get a new district, you get a whole new Black voice, whereas a lot of it has been concentrated. They've drawn it such that Atlanta and all its surrounding subsidiaries is kind of like 1.5, maybe 2 areas. And then they put all these little bogus areas in the rural places where you got 6 people constituting a district, and they got just as much right to make say in the state as downtown Atlanta, which has got like 2 million people.
Right.
And so that is disproportionate. And so they need to divvy it up again, especially around Atlanta. I want to say Atlanta, Columbus, and Savannah, I believe, in those general areas, because they done stacked us all in here like slaves on a ship so we can only vote once.
That's caging. So they concentrate all of the Black people into 1 or 2 districts when really they merit, from a population standpoint, they merit more. And of course, this is something that should scare Marjorie Taylor Greene. It's not only at the state going to the federal Congress, it's also within the state of Georgia and their legislative body. So you're talking about a potential shift. It's not something that's going to turn the state blue. Nobody's saying that. But the very fact that 2 more, predominantly Black or likely Black legislative districts, you know how thin the margin is in the House right now, right? They can't lose nothing. And the fact that the Republican Party in New York is seeking to remove George Santos is something that, well, we know Johnson wasn't going to do it. McCarthy never had the stones to do it. Nobody else ever had the power to do it. Nobody has done anything to dilute their majority at all. But the winds are blowing against them now because of everything that they're doing. And so all of these districts, the Ohio district, duck-shaped district that has Jim Jordan in it, you're right, Chan. By all virtue, there is no GOP. There's the GOP and there's the extreme right, and they're caucusing together, but they are 2 different parties. It's just that there are enough in the extreme right that there aren't enough to overshadow the traditional, just fiscally conservative, whatever, leave me alone GOP. But they are enough of a pain in the ass to make it impossible to govern. And so by all rights, they really should be their own separate party. But if they did that, they know that they would never have any sort of control. So they caucus together, a marriage of convenience, although this is a somewhat inconvenient marriage, because if anybody in that caucus is gay, then the speaker would have them not be married.
How did he get that out of that, Joy?
Long breath.
Yeah, we work on things. Now, to close out the show, we have a long segment. We do have some videos we want to show, but the last segment of the show that we want to give attention and praise and love and glory to is my good sis, Fani Willis, who is on one. Now, last week, I was trying to sing the praises of Letitia James, who is an AG, but Fani Willis is a DA.
Yeah.
And so she my little DA, and I don't give a damn what that orange fool say, So Fani has been doing the most. The story at the top of the week was that she got 4 people to flip. 4 people to flip on Donald Trump. And
they've never looked a black woman in the eye before. You know how powerful that is.
I mean, well, let's just take a look at her.
That face right there says, "Come in or out. Don't be letting all the air out of my house."
Right.
What was that?
So she is seeking, supposedly 6 more pleas have been offered. One of the pleas is to another lawyer who has already rejected the plea, but 5 others are talking. And this is what people are saying, because now it's like, people, oh, how's she going to try 19? And then it was 17 defendants because 2 wanted them fast track. Both of the 2 who wanted it fast track have now flipped.
Plead out. Yeah.
And what people are now understanding is, Fani ain't never want to try 19 motherfuckers. She wanted 18 pleas.
Yeah.
And 1 defendant. That's what she wanted. And she's steady. Boop, boop,
Yep.
boop, boop. She's knocking the dominoes down. Now, there are going to be some people who, either from a perspective of ideological purity, who knows what Mark Meadows is going to do now that he's already talking to Jack Smith. It's real tricky to figure out what his calculation is going to be. But it doesn't seem like there's too much advantage for him to be making an immunity deal for January 6th when the Georgia case is tied to January 6th.
Yeah.
Right.
So what are you really going to do, Mark? You're currently appealing to try to get it up to Fed, but you've already made an immunity deal with the federal government.
So why would they care about you?
Why would... So basically, it's what we've been saying, that you got the people who had the most to lose are already flipping. Now you've got the people who can't afford a 5-month trial. Sure. That's what it comes down to. Mm-hmm. And, it can be devastating. When you're on trial, you have to be in the court. If you work at a hardware store or, whatever, you mortgage your house.
I'm trying to figure out where they're coming up with this money from. I mean, all the people with the loaded pockets, they were playing out. So these lower people who are fucking living at what, 90,000 a year at the most, how are they coming up with all this money? And guess what? You know who's not writing the checks? Donald Trump. You think Donald Trump would be raising money for his co-defendants? Yeah. But nah, he don't care, and that's why bail bondsman was first. Bail bondsman's like, I ain't got time for all this. I got to get back to my life. Say what you want. I was in there. You got me on video taking shit. So it's no real point for me to sit here for 5 months just to be convicted and then go to jail for 5 years. Let me get a plea. And then you got Kraken. Kraken ain't had no choice. Because if Kraken got convicted, Kraken was never going to be able to practice law again. That's moral turpitude. And every one of these lawyers has negotiated in their plea that their pleading does not constitute moral turpitude. Because moral turpitude is something that would get you excluded from practicing law. Forever. And so every single one of them has gotten that as a condition of their plea, that it is not moral turpitude. And if they successfully complete their probation period, then they're all first offenders. And so it's struck.
The thing that pisses me off is it is moral turpitude.
It is. Oh, it absolutely. You were
is.
lying to try to undo the properly conducted election.
I think these low-rung co-defendants are just hinging their bets on him winning in November of next year.
That's a long time. Your case is going to be over. Your case is going to be over, bro.
They don't have the money. Like, what else would they be doing? You think they're just going to agree to?
But Trump can't get them out of a state case. It's a dumb gambit. He can only pardon you from federal crimes. None of these crimes are federal. So you're screwed. If your understanding of the law is that uninformed, let's be clear. You're going to screw yourself because you're going to be in jail. He's going to be, I'm sorry. I wish I could get you out. I can't. There's no way for me to get you out, but I wish I could, but I can't. Because Fani Willis, the racist, put you in jail and I can't do anything about it.
She's just begs the question what they're waiting on.
Woman. But it's her fault. It's not yours.
I said it begs the question.
What did you say, Jamie?
I said it just begs the question what they're waiting on. Like the people at the bottom, these low-run co-defendants, like, why haven't you pled out yet? Like, what are you seriously waiting on?
Some of it is fanaticism. They really do believe they're going to be okay. And then some of it is misplaced loyalty. It is not that they're being loyal to him, is that they think their previous loyalty is going to get him to, at some moment, be like, I was just playing. I'm gonna help you out, or they still believe that he's going to save them some kind of way.
Yeah, I'm gonna throw this log on the fire. Some of them are just scared because Trump doxes and abandons everybody who turns on him.
That is true.
None of these people have the wherewithal to protect themselves from that sort of BS. None of them.
So they'd rather just risk it and go to jail.
Yeah, well, they're just gonna. I don't know if they're gonna go to jail, but
they'll take probation.
You asked why they're not pleading. October was the beginning of the expedited trial for the 2. Yeah. That's gone. Now it's November. There's still weeks for them to figure out what the hell it is what their options are. Their lawyer. I mean, she's talking to 5 more. 5 more have not shut the door. So they are talking. It's just like it took to the very last moment. They were about to have jurors answer questionnaires when Chesebro's plea came through.
And he's like, wait.
Hold on now. Yeah. So the negotiations are ongoing, and Fani is doing exactly because she knew Chesebro wasn't going to waste 5 months of his time and $1 million in fees. She knew.
Yeah.
And so, she applied the leverage. She's turning the screw, and she's
doing her job and doing it well.
Her job. She's doing it and doing it and doing it well. Doing it and doing it and doing it well.
Just protect her, Lord Jesus, because I worry about her safety too.
Jesus be a Kevlar vest.
Ooh, be a everything.
So this is the other thing. She's discussed plea deals with at least 6 more Trump co-conspirators. That's before the one came out and said that it's not happening. But look at Trump. He's all pasty. The black and white makes the bags where the crease of his spray tan can't get in there looks extra creasy and greasy. It's
have
not
to know this is just whittling at him. He's not a healthy man right now.
Oh no.
Yeah. His blood pressure has to stay on at like 200 over 180, right? He's like I believe you can probably see that vein popping on the side of his head the whole time because he wants to fight back. He wants to come out swinging. He wants a platform to just spew his nonsense. But unfortunately, when he has those chances that come from time to time to say something, you get the ramblings and because Obama. Blah, 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 blah. Duh, I call it crooked Hillary. He's like reliving his original campaign glory days.
The greatest
because it makes him feel good.
It's getting harder for him to contain himself because he stormed out of court this week. Did you hear about that?
Oh, yeah.
He literally got up and ran out of court. Well, not ran, but he just walked out of court.
Yeah, anybody
else that would have done that would have gone straight to a cell.
Well, and that's one of the things that's being said. Jack Smith, when Jack Smith actually used the New York judge's gag order fine to reinforce his order with Chutkan to request that she unpause the gag order precisely because he has been demonstrated to go after people using what he said against Mark Meadows against him to say he's intimidating witnesses. And let's be clear, the sound in Trump's head is a whistling tea kettle, like in those old Tom and Jerry cartoons where Tom sits on the stove and it's like, shee! That's his head constantly right now. He is in a place where his entire world is crumbling around him. The pressure is building. People are folding. He always thought he was invulnerable because people were never going to flip. And Michael Cohen is a classic person who has now built a career about talking shit about his former boss. And these other people are realizing there's nothing in it for me.
Right.
Giuliani is at more risk than almost anyone because Giuliani has no money.
Now, Giuliani might go to prison.
Listen, he might go to prison for stuff unrelated to this. He can't pay his mortgage. His marriage is dissolved. He's trying to sell the house. He's an alcoholic. He's been sanctioned in New York. He can't practice here. He can't practice there. So it's not cute for him.
Not at all.
Not at all. Not at all.
Is this the first time we see on record where these judges are really holding Trump to task? Because I'm trying to remember before all this, was there any judge that enforced these sort of things on him up until now? I can't remember him.
I don't think.
I mean, he's got 3,000 plus civil trials that have been on pause for years. So
yeah.
And he didn't do anything before he became. Yeah.
Oh yeah.
Just people telling him, somebody telling him what to do. Yeah.
Right.
Oh, when they gagged him, that was it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And
Twitter,
this is an excellent point.
Put more sanctions on it. That's right.
Funniest thing about Rudy is he's the one who put the RICO on the map. And so that was the premise of like a whole generation of movies about drugs and Colombians and whatnot. But and he enjoyed a lot of national love and support after the powers went down, right? Mm-hmm. And him being the mayor then, and he was America's mayor at that point. And how the mighty have fallen, now people looking at him like, I'm not with him. Like, you do that, avert your eyes when they come towards you in the street. Like, I don't know you, Randy.
Well, he was probably corrupt then too.
Oh, of course.
But not as corrupt.
But not to the extent, right, a different, more like regular New York mayor corruption.
Yeah. Right. Your standard grifter is fine, but overthrowing or assisting in a general overthrow of the government of the United States, bro.
Right.
Lying on camera, lying on other people, bro. What you doing?
No, it's a lot of craziness. So
like my nephew.
We have some things because we haven't been able to do as much light stuff, and we do like to do light stuff, especially in an after dark show. We did this as an after dark show. It hasn't been very after darky, but we do have some after darky stuff. And so Joy has prepared a series of videos, stuff that we find funny throughout the week. We are texting each other. We have a couple of different groups. There's an Instagram group that we have, and there is a messenger group, and there's also individual texts, and we just pass stuff around to each other all the time. And so Joy, why don't you toss your first video into the thing, and we're going to watch it together.
Okay, so here's what I'm about to show you. This is my series of Spot for Today called Reparations on the Down Low. And here's how I think we ultimately, as Black people, I can't speak for other races and affiliations, but as Black people, we get our reparations in the bedroom, and if we can slowly but surely convince the majority dominant figurehead right now, which is a straight Christian white male, if we can convince them to lead with to let the other head think for them, then we can change some things while they're not looking, because all the blood drains out of their head. And so I want to show you, here's the progression. It's already started. You may not have known. You might have been missing the how do I do it? You might have been missing the revolution.
The indicators.
Exactly. Yeah. It starts like this. Notice here, first he's like, wait a minute, what are you? Who are you? What are you doing? Right? And then she looked at him like, you like it. And then he thinks about it. See, he's considering. He's like, you know what? I think
calculating. Wait, the freeze. You gotta freeze the smirk. You can't let it go past. You gotta freeze that last little look.
He really did. I mean, his whole face was, you look like brown sugar.
You look like a Hershey.
And then his eyes sort of drift off, and then he smirked.
There it is. That's the freeze frame right there.
Oh, that is the face of somebody that will remember he likes Black people.
Baby, he's bringing home Letitia soon.
He's bringing home
from third grade.
Right. So the first step, baby about to risk it all. Absolutely. And that's going to be a recurring theme, because honestly, that's what we need them to do. We need them to risk it all, right? So you start with that, and let me get rid of this baby here, and the next one up should be no, not him. This one. Hang on, because I'm trying to remember how to.
You have to take the other one out. Take the other one out, and then put this one in.
There you go. Thank you. So the next one, a few years later, they're still exploring their options and their things and other things. But then they start to listen to our music. And so, I don't have a problem with it, especially if they show true appreciation. So next thing you know, you end up with something like this.
gang sign. Ran in the house and grabbed my clip. With the 19 on the so I ran outside and pointed my weapon. Just like I thought, the bulls kept stepping. Jumped in the
We got choreography.
I got run back inside the side. Then I let the Alpine play.
Let the Alpine play, baby.
New shit by WA. It was gangsta at the top of the list. Then I played my own shit.
Well, you got to hit. Look, check him out.
Get it.
Swag.
And stiff. And then he steps off into the yonder.
Yes.
I love it.
Just off into the dark, literally.
Yes.
He's
Off into
done.
the darkness, everybody. So again, so you got the baby who's like, yeah, I think I can do this, and then you move into middle school. There was a black woman taking that video, and you know they was gassing his head up.
Baby.
Right? We had all those little moves, and he know these are black women. I gotta come with some choreography. Let the Alpines look front to back and side to side. Yo, he was all in, and it was being reinforced with him that you were cool with us. We accept. Based on the way he was built, I promise you, he ain't always gonna get acceptance from his own folks. But we love you. We'll take you. We're your friends. And then, as they mature,
we will affirm all of that.
We will affirm everything about you, my love. And then, as they mature, then you move into this. This brother here, or this person here. When you talk about ready to risk it all, look at his face.
Oh.
He's contemplating everything he's ever known. He can't believe what he's seeing when he wants more. He is completely unaware of the world around him.
Wait, you know what? You know what it is for me? It's the slow blink. It's the
Yes. That slow blink is evidence of maybe racism is wrong. Maybe women should be able to vote.
I ain't never seen no things like that before.
Is that real?
Dad,
she's real?
Everything my dad just told me
is a lie.
What the hell?
I want some milk.
Can we go to the other side of town, Dad?
Right. I don't know. This side of the tracks, other side of the tracks. Hey, Dad, can we go to Compton?
Yeah. Can we just hang out in Compton, Crenshaw? Go to the mall? Right. Taste the Soul. Can we go to Taste the Soul? Yeah. I want some collard greens.
Right. Can we go to the serving spoon?
Those red beans and rice didn't miss her.
Not the serving spoon, Joy. What you know about the serving spoon?
Yo, that used to be my spot.
Oh.
Every time I came through LA, I was there. We saw Bobby Brown there one time eating like a whole turkey. Yo,
oh, I'm sure. Because it's his prerogative.
Portions anymore, though.
Aw. They got good food though. So those are the three that I wanted to show. But this is how we get our reparations. Slowly and insidiously convince them that it was their idea all along to give. And this is where I need black men rock with black women. Go ahead and don't get mad when we be out here dating other races because we bring in the money home, right? And it gets really, really hard. It seems like it's easier for a white woman to get away with racism because her ostensibly black man might be like okay with it, or it's not that bad. White women tears clear up everything, but a white man cannot get away with racism with his black wife. And if you want any more of that,
but that's very true. Because refer back to Mike Johnson, the guy, the new Speaker of the House. You know, one of his sons are adopted, right? And he's black.
Didn't know.
Yeah, he has a black son. And this is where it kind of gets really muddy with him. I meant to mention this earlier.
I mean, it's Louisiana.
What? Because during George Floyd, he was on record saying that there needs to be some sort of accountability, some sort of reform as to what was going on in Minnesota. And he got a lot of pushback. from his fellow Republicans by making that stance. But it was only because of his experience of raising. They were both 14 years old at the time, one black kid and one white kid.
And seeing the differences.
Exactly. And he actually made that, and it was on record. So he did get some pushback. So
he can be pushed back out that seat.
Yeah.
Because he still wants me on my back.
Yeah, he does.
Birthing babies for the rest of my life.
Stirrups.
Right.
Yeah,
you just never know their motives oftentimes when they adopt black kids. It's like, is this like kind of like, I used to get really annoyed when I was in high school and my friends would go on these mission trips and they would always see these pictures of them holding these little African babies and talking about what they did. I'm like, and even in my youth, I didn't understand why I was so bothered by it. But now that I've gotten older, it's like, that's why I was bothered by it. So I always wonder about, the sincerity. And there goes that word again.
Well, it's a byproduct. So what's the word? Missionary work or traveling evangelism goes hand in hand with colonialism, because if the colonies don't show up with their own religion, you don't need to send any missionaries around to save anybody. But when you do have those missionary expositions out into the savage world, and all they need to have is to get a scratch on their back of their hand, the military is coming to save those missionaries and create another stake in the land. This is a new outpost right here. And this is how you use the missionaries for manifest destiny. You see what I mean? And they do the same thing. And it didn't occur to me until I was a grown woman that the villages and towns and what have you in the entire continent of Africa, in every country in Africa, have been around literally for hundreds of thousands of years. So why do they need this young white boy to come build them a well?
Yeah.
And then I realized because the fracking, the mining, the rape of the land has left them with no drinkable water, because these foreigners came in and polluted it all by stealing, like they normally do, stealing with a little bit of edge. They did offer something, but they pollute everything and kill off their crops, kill off their drinking water, starve them out, and then offer this charity with whatever that chick's name is, for 5 cents a day. You can save.
Oh, Sally Struthers.
Sally Struthers.
Yeah. We wouldn't need saving if you hadn't done us dirty in the first place.
Yeah.
And so to that point, I highly recommend watching the work of Raoul Peck. And there are many documentaries about the Belgian Congo. You watched Silver Dollar Road? Did you watch it?
Yes, I did. Thank you.
Was it not amazing?
I went to bed pissed off, but thank you so much.
But it's amazing, right?
It is, yeah.
So please watch Silver Dollar Road. Also, please examine both the documentary and the feature film Lumumba, both by Raoul Peck. And if you go on YouTube, if you mess around and go on YouTube after watching Lumumba, the algorithm will put you onto some history lessons about the Belgian domination and colonization from the time when the entire region was a personal held territory of King Leopold, when 10 million Africans were mercilessly slaughtered, to when it became a Belgian protectorate where they had zero interest in actually elevating anything in the Congo. They just wanted to keep all of the mineral resources, the boundless mineral resources that were available within that region for their own exploitation, to the freedom of the state in 1960 and the election of Lumumba and his murder, his literal assassination a year later, and then the dominance of, basically who became a dictator for until he was finally run out of the country. So please watch Silver Dollar Road, and please watch all of these things about the domination.
And if you need a break from watching, I highly, I'm not getting money for this, recommend Black as Fuck History.
There you go.
By Michael.
By Michael Harriot.
Yes.
Yeah, Michael's great.
Michael's great. So you probably have followed some of his stories on Instagram or on Facebook or Twitter or what have you. He has these long threads, and it'll feel like a meandering story about his family, and it ends with, and that's what's wrong with Christian fundamentalism. Like, he ties it back. I like his writing style because it's very similar to how I do presentations for my everyday work. So I'm in love with him from a distance because I don't want no trouble. But
is the brother with the dreads that you sent something this week?
No, that was Summer Show.
That's Summer Show.
Yeah, Summer Show is a Harvard linguist and teacher.
Okay.
But Michael, if you're familiar with the old group, Very Smart Brothers,
yeah,
that's where he got his start. And writing
he
for
was
the
one
Griot,
of the two big ones.
It was him, and the other one put a book out, What Doesn't Kill You Makes You Blacker, which I also have in there, but I forgot his name. But when I told you about all of the original Americans being all of the original colonists coming in and those failed colonies over and over again, they were down to like 30 people. They started eating each other, whatever. That's in Black as Fuck history. And he breaks it down, and it's fun to read. So I strongly recommend it. It's what I read a little bit every morning while I'm working out. You know, it's it's easy because it's told with these anecdotes. And he throws his Uncle Charlie and Uncle Junior in there, all kind of stuff. It's great.
But does it gas you up at all, or you leaves you kind of like level? I mean, are you?
He leaves you a little bit level because it always comes back to instead of it being and then everybody died and you just mad at the end. Of it. He brings it back around to that's why I told you they ain't shit. Like that's how it feels.
Yeah.
Well, I think we are at the end. This is the closest we've been to an hour in a while, and I'm very pleased about that. It is a homecoming weekend. I know that people are already at the first functions for FAMU because Thursday is the unofficial. People who are from out of town are coming back kind of in force. So
I can see y'all do is this a yearly pilgrimage or you guys just go like, oh wow.
No, the only reason I'm not there right now broadcasting from my Airbnb is because of my foot. So and this is a huge thing for folks who attended HBCUs. This is homecoming season. It started 3-4 weeks ago, and now we're getting into the thick of it. There's only like 3 or 4 weeks left, and so this is a big weekend. There's a lot of different homecomings this weekend. Howard was and Clark Atlanta were last weekend.
Spelman and Morehouse are this weekend.
As well. And so there are other schools. Harris Stowe, Mark Stepney said Harris Stowe is having theirs this weekend. And so everybody be safe out there. And I'm going to close on this image without editorializing. Hey, CJ.
Love you, CJ.
All right.
See you this weekend.
And you can watch the show later, CJ. I want to end this show without editorializing because it could easily send us off in a tangent, but I want to offer a message and an image of hope for the conflicts currently raging around the world and prayers and goodwill for the peaceful resolution of the conflict in Israel and Palestine. Amen. Thank you, everybody, for Steel Sharpens Steel. I am Tom Cunningham.
I'm Jermaine Taylor.
And I am Joy Stevens.
And this is Steel Sharpens Steel. Happy homecoming, everybody.